Welcome to the Heard and Empowered podcast, presented by National Industries for the Blind. We're on a mission to empower people who are blind, low vision, or visually impaired to build fulfilling careers, gain personal independence, and take the next step toward achieving their own American dream. Guests from all walks of life share their journeys and how they overcame challenges they faced along the way. Whatever your interests, experience, talents, or career goals, listen to discover important connections and unlock the resources and inspiration you need to chart a new path. Ready to be heard and empowered?
Hi, I'm Dean Thompson, and welcome to the Heard and Empowered podcast. Thanks for watching. I'm here with Michael Monteferrante. Michael is with Envision. And Michael, what is Envision, please?
Envision is one of the largest blind agencies in the United States, headquartered in Wichita, Kansas, but 16 locations in 12 states and a fairly large presence in Dallas, Texas. And we've started in 1933 and have been around ever since. And our focus and our goal and our mission is to impact the lives of people who are blind and visually impaired.
What does Envision do?
We do a lot of things, right? We've got a fairly large bandwidth of employment opportunities throughout the country, as I just mentioned, and also services, mission services, where we have early child development centers, research institutes, workforce innovation centers, rehabilitation programs, a huge art program that we have that's been nationally renowned on the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt and Willie Geist, Sunday Morning with Willie Geist. And so some really impactful programs that we have in addition to employment.
I'm curious about that. What does the art program do?
Art in the area of molding, clays, tactile imagery, paintings, and we're on exhibits throughout the country.
Wow. That's very cool. It is what it is. It's nice.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about it, right?
So you were in New York for a while, you told me. What
Yes.
brought you to Wichita, Kansas, of all places?
Transportation is in the New York area for mass transit, Chicago, California, Montreal.
Right.
Built the Acela train for Amtrak, right? Involved with all of those projects. And then Wichita, Kansas to operate a city bus manufacturing company headquartered in Wichita. And that's where I got my involvement with Envision.
How did that come about?
On their board of directors, they didn't have anyone that was in manufacturing. And Envision is a fairly large manufacturing organization making products, mostly for the United States government. And they didn't have any manufacturing folks on their board. And so they approached me to be a candidate for their board. I had never met a blind person before. This is in 2005, so 20 years ago. And so they said, but that's okay. Come and see what we do and make your decision then. So we went to the manufacturing facility in Wichita that I'd never visited before. And they had mentioned to me that 90% of our direct employees were blind and visually impaired. And so I came into the facility and I saw this facility just running all these machines and so forth. And I talked to the CEO at the time, Linda Merrill, who was very active within National Industries for the Blind. And I said, Linda, I thought you mentioned that 90% of the people here were blind and visually impaired. And this was supposed to be a 1-hour tour.
Right.
And she said, they are. I go, they are. And I raised my hand and I said, I don't know what we're going to do for the next 59 minutes, but I'm in.
Wow.
And I've been inspired ever since. And that was 20 years ago.
That is so cool.
And in 2013, I had the opportunity to become CEO of Envision.
Wow. What are you proudest of with Envision at this point?
I am very, very proud of the impact that we've had on thousands of lives. We have 550 employees, as I mentioned, in 16 locations in 12 states. But what we've done, in addition to direct employment, is we've impacted thousands and thousands of people through our mission services. And it's that combination of impact that makes me very, very proud.
It's the people and their families too, which is
Absolutely.
yes. What drew you to, or when did you first know about NSITE? When did you first come across them?
Well, that's a great story, right? I was engaged with NSITE before NSITE was NSITE.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So about 7 years ago, um, Bill Hudson and I were having a great study, and Bill at that time was the CEO of LC Industries, and we were talking about continue what more impact can we have together and our two companies and so forth.
Mhm.
And so we started talking about workforce innovation, right?
Mhm.
And we started collaborating with NIB in terms of this is what we would like to do together,
Mhm.
and the Workforce Innovation Center, which would provide tools, opportunity, seminars, growth factors, um, engagement for upward mobility
Mhm.
opportunities for people who are blind and visually impaired,
Mhm.
and learning the landscape of digital accessibilities in a big way. And then after that, working on placing individuals who are blind and visually impaired, and then conditioning employers about inclusivity
Mhm.
in regards to this and to make it an inclusive workforce environment. And so we collaborated, the three of us, LCE Industries, Envision, and NIB,
Mhm.
to create a business leadership center, and we hosted supervisor training and so forth. And this was the initiation of that. And then from there, NIB went to create Insight,
Mhm.
4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And so we were at that very, from my point of view, forefront of the beginning of Insight through this collaboration. And then they created Insight.
Mhm.
And now it's come full circle to where now Envision works very closely with uh, the current Insight operation in terms of what they're
Mhm.
doing. And there's so many things going on right now with Insight
Mhm.
that yeah, I need a piece of paper now to go through all the modules that we're working on together in collaboration with
Well,
Insight.
tell me
But that's
about.
how it started.
Okay. Well, tell me about those modules. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Pull out your statistics, please.
Well, yeah, there's a laundry list of them,
Fine.
right? And
There it is.
and we're so excited because we're just, halfway through our first cohort. But
Mhm.
basically, it was building that, the whole BPB, what they call the better professional behaviors
Mhm.
for people who are blind and visually impaired. It's
Right.
like a 1 year program,
Mhm.
48 weeks, right?
Mhm.
And then right now we've established 3 different cohorts, one of which is about halfway through. We're through about, I think, week 24, 25, 26
Mhm.
of a 48-week program
Mhm.
with these cohorts that have, an average of about 10 people in them
Mhm.
and a very, very focused environment. And so when we finish this, we're doing another one, I think, in August, and that will be for Texans
Mhm.
and some folks from Michigan.
Mhm.
And then there'll be a third towards the end of the year. But instructor-led training seminars, online learning modules,
Mhm.
direct mentoring, mentor, documentation, outgoing communities that we're working with. NSITE staff's very engaged with us,
Mhm.
and we have 5 folks on our staff, mentees, mentors
Mhm.
that are beginning to provide acceleration for what NSITE's doing in a wider geographical area. And these cohorts now, are rocking and rolling with Texas Workforce Commission
Mhm.
and so forth. So it's pretty cool in terms of how we're launching mentees and mentors.
Mhm.
And what Envision did about 4 years ago, we acquired the assets
Mhm.
of the College Success Program, with the Learning Institute out of Princeton, New Jersey.
Okay.
And so what it was pairing up incoming freshmen because there's a 85% failure rate of incoming freshmen that go to college they don't finish, right? A 15% success rate.
Wow.
And the college success program was created of moving that metric to a more successful model. And it was then pairing up blind college graduates
Mhm.
with incoming freshmen and joining them on their journey from their freshman year on. and what can we do together. And so this program, they were moving more towards dyslexia. And so we took over the college success program. And then now we've started to feather this in, based on our mentorship and mentee experiences now with NSITE to accelerate programs of individuals from all ages. But that college success program endeavor helped Envision really understand the dynamics of mentorship as it relates to blind, visually impaired acceleration, learning, and impact. And that helped us what we could bring to the table to NSITE to continue to work on these cohorts together.
So in this context, what does the phrase or the word cohort mean, Mike?
Basically, an assembly of individuals that are now cohorting with an assembly and a learning structure in order to accomplish a goal together. And the goal that's going to be accomplished is these individuals come out of this program and they're ready to be launched into the workforce. And then what we do is we use the Envision components of consulting to employers that are more receptive to take on individuals who are blind and visually impaired because they're just outstanding employees, right? And sometimes they may not have got that chance, right? And so these are the cohorts that come together. So we assemble them, we interview them, and then they're selected to come into this program. And then it's therefore a cohort.
So a cohort is like a class moving through each 48-week
Correct.
training?
Yes. And we're trying to do 3 a year.
That's
ambitious. That's our goal together with NSITE.
Has one class completed the 48 weeks as we talk?
Yeah, we're
right
halfway
now?
through the first class.
Okay, very cool. Any reactions, success stories?
Oh, absolutely, right? We've got a lot of individuals who've been interviewed in terms of their journey, so forth, and it's life-changing.
Really? In what way? What do you mean life-changing is a big
Yeah,
phrase?
it's life-changing in terms of their optimism to enhance their skills and find a great job.
That's very cool.
Yeah, for them, as you mentioned earlier, and their families, right?
Yeah.
This has a wide range of impact in regards to, in addition to an individual, their families, their relatives, and then the employees that are hiring.
We were talking briefly before we went on there. You have a new facility in Dallas. Am I correct?
Yes, we
Tell us
do.
about that,
Yeah, it
please.
used to be the Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind, which started in 1931 in Dallas, Texas, which is now called Envision Dallas. Yeah, a new 210,000 square foot facility with manufacturing, workforce innovation, programs, art, all in one building. Early child development, where typically sighted and blind visually impaired children from the age of 0 to 4.5 are scaling together. It's a fantastic program that we started in Wichita 15 years ago and have now brought that modeling into the Dallas, Texas, which at this time didn't exist. So it's early child development, rehabilitation, regardless of your ability to pay, all under one roof with a large manufacturing organization.
What do you manufacture? What do you manufacture there?
Okay, in Envision Dallas, we're making Army trousers. So we have a textile division. We make award binders for all the military situations, including Coast Guard. We're making magic markers and highlighters for the United States government. And we make all the eyeglass holders for Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard also from scratch. And so a lot of manufacturing there, and mostly for the United States government. And then we also have now some commercial products we do a lot of work for the Texas prisons and in terms of fulfillment activity, which is a great experience. And so those type of products and then the services that we provide.
This has got to be a major change for you. You come from manufacturing and being a New Yorker, as you were once the MTA, there's nothing more basic in the world than MTA, as far as I'm concerned, the various services. Then you go to Wichita and you become involved. What has been the biggest change in your life personally because of becoming involved with Envision?
Serving. The old days of mass transit were outstanding. And, while you might think that New York City Transit Authority is basic, it's a pretty complicated system, especially now with dual modes of electrical conduits up ahead and 600 volt. As you can remember, you don't want to touch that rail and get sparked. And now to serve people, right, that want to work, want to engage, want to progress their lives. And so it's moving from, a situation of manufacturing for the masses to now serving individuals and enjoying their desire and abilities to have the best impact and independence they can have. And it's fantastic. And so that's the difference.
When you first, who were you working for in Wichita before Envision, if you don't mind me asking?
Optima Bus
Okay.
Corporation.
You left there and went to, was that a big leap for you personally?
Well, I didn't actually, I was a board member when I was at Optima Bus, right? And after that, I was working for American Capital Strategy, which is a private equity firm that manufactures a variety of products. And from then is when I went to move to Envision in 2013. And for me, other than what we just shared in terms of serving people, it's not really different at all because we look at the same dynamics, right? We look at margin, viability to support the mission, right? And so what we do is the products that we make from the United States government, while we're not for profit, we still make margin on those, but then we redistribute that margin into services for people who are blind and visually impaired, right? That either the state or the government is not supporting. And or services that they don't have access to. So we're accentuating services with the margin that we make. So there's still a big focus on manufacturing and making margin on that manufacturing. So to me, there's really no difference other than instead of distributing that to shareholders, we're redistributing it to the mission that we serve and the mission that National Industries for the Blind serve and the Ability One Commission as a whole are scheduled to serve. So it's that same ecosystem of productivity that you would in any other organization or company. So to me, it wasn't a big difference in a big shift.
But you stole my next question. That is, there is the community service aspect of this. Does that make going to work easier?
It makes it more enjoyable in regards to understanding impact. Yeah, and that's big to me. We use the word impact a lot at Envision. That's why we're all there.
Yeah. Is this your last stop professionally? Is that another question? Why would you say that is?
But it just is.
Okay.
I've got no desire and haven't had a desire to go back to private equity or any other type of situation. It's my last stop.
What's the biggest why you can? Why?
There's nothing more fun. I mean, after I'm starting now my 13th year, and I go to work every day just like I did my first year. Wow. Because there's new people to serve. There's more that needs to be done, and it's getting to be a more and more complex environment. So I love the challenge of continuing to stay engaged with the changing dynamics and what needs to be done in the industry that we serve. And so it keeps you rejuvenated and it keeps you sharp. And that's fun and it's challenging. And that's why I know.
How has the working relationship with NSITE helped? Let me rephrase that. Has it helped what Envision does? And if so, what impact do you think you're having together?
Yeah, at first there wasn't. Okay, so NSITE's been going on now for a few years. But what I've seen in the last year and a half, and especially this last year, with what NSITE is committed to doing and what they are now actually doing compared to what was happening the first couple of years, to me is very progressive. And so that's what I've seen. And then now their partnership with Envision, where they've really kicked it up a notch, and so have we. What we've been able to do together was exactly the same, strategies and ideation that we had 6 years ago. And now I see it finally coming together. Yeah. And so that's what I see that's different. And so us together are stronger than when we were, for lack of a better way to describe it, independent of each other, to where NSITE was offering some services that maybe we could pay for. Now, NSITE's offering some of these services now at no charge, to all the agencies, which is a great move. And then now collaborating with some of the agencies to have more impact. And it's a fact that they are having more impact than they've ever had before. But I think it's the commitment that NIB has now committed to in terms of the engagement and the support of what NSITE has been wanting to do strategically. Now they're actually implementing it, and there's evidence of it now. And so that's the evolutional part that I've seen from this collaboration and what NIB is doing currently with the NSITE as a whole.
Can you give me a specific, for instance, an example, perchance?
Yeah, I shared one now in terms of the services now in many ways are at no charge to the agencies. So that itself was monumental. And then now absolutely collaborating with an agency like Envision right now in terms of the cohorts that I'm talking about would have been very difficult for NIB to do without collaborating with an organization like Envision. And that ability to then accelerate the implementation of these programs and to penetrate certain geographical regions that are in desperate need of it, it was an accelerant for an NSITE for them to do this with us.
Like most things in life, you're stronger together.
Absolutely. Stronger together. Communication, collaboration creates the impact of execution. Agreed.
Anything we're not touching on, Mike, you'd like to talk about here, please?
No, the NSITE relationship's been great. The evolution of what's happening now within the national industries for the blind is fascinating. And like we talked about, we're stronger together. And I believe that we're all recognizing that more than ever now when times become more, I don't use the word difficult, but more challenging in terms of the sophistication of what's happening now within the United States government. And the need for that communication and collaboration is now bigger and higher than ever. And it absolutely needs to be done. And I believe that NIB and its new leadership recognizes that. And I'm excited about the future.
And to those watching the podcast or listening to the podcast who aren't familiar, how do they, if it's appropriate, how do they follow with Envision? How do they get in touch with you and the organization?
Well, that's a great question. It's another thing that Envision is very proud of. We love to collaborate. So, a lot of different industry meetings we have at now Envision Dallas because of the facilities that we've built. We've had a lot of meetings there, a lot of association meetings that have come there. And so we're easy to find at envisionus.com. And it starts there, and there's a plethora of information there to where you have the ability to dive and dig into any of the verticals that we've been chatting about today, and just really easy to find all the way to the back to where it shows our leadership with a connecting email to any of the folks. And so, we are big collaborators, and we like to do things together with other agencies. And there's a host of examples of what other agencies have teamed up with Envision in terms of research, in terms of workforce innovation, and in terms of programs and services and conferences.
Yeah. Would you spell that web address out for me one time, please?
ENVISIONUS.com. Envisionus.com.
Very cool. Mike, thank you ever so much. It's been a great conversation. Thanks.
Thank you, Dean. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Heard and Empowered podcast. Please make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more information, visit heardandempowered.org. That's HEARDANDEMPOWERED.org. Join us again next time